Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at XL Clodsire in the Open Ultra League and some friendly battles here. And honestly, this Pokemon was so much better than I thought. You're going to see it in today's video as well. This Pokemon was absolutely insane and I did not expect it at all. This Pokemon can completely hold its own against most of the Ultra League Pokemon here. First game going to be a little bit spicier, but there are also a lot of tryhard full meta teams coming up. You can actually decide to go also for Stone Edge over Sludge Bomb on your Clodsire here if you want to play it, because you're going to be able to nearly one-shot, I think, even, maybe actually one-shot Charizard with it as well. And I have to say, I got a lot of Charizard Say-Swaps as well later on against Clodsire, so it would have made some sense to do this. But also, I have to say, I don't have TMs, and I already used an Elite Charge TM to get the Earthquake on this Pokemon. So, if you appreciate the effort, feel free to leave a like. And also subscribe if you enjoy the content. As you're going to see here now, the combo all going for a close combat, we are able to realign our Pokemon after getting hard rolled and the opponent decides to forfeit. Moving on, we're going to encounter one of the worst possibilities for us here, which is going to be the Poliwrath. I decided to swap out immediately into my Clodsire, as you're going to have to tank a super effective Scald onto this Pokemon. But let's take a look on how much it's going to do here. Stab, super effective, still doesn't knock us out, and we're going to get out the opponent's Charizard. It's exactly the scenario where I say that Stone Edge might be cool, but here we're going to reveal basically Sludge Bomb. But take a look at this. We were able to get a shield already here. But not only this, we're going to get a ton of damage, and look at this, we're just barely going to be able to still reach a Sludge Bomb here, which is going to allow us to get another shield. So we got 2 shields from the opponent, and also still we're able to, get a lot of damage onto the opponent as well. So what we can do here is we can now go into our Greninja, and honestly, I misplayed it a little bit. I thought I would be able to go up to at least 3 fast moves here, but I wasn't, so I'm forced to use another shield. And I should have swapped out earlier into my Nidoqueen in order to get even more energy. But let's take a look at this one. I should be able to outspeed the opponent with the Earth Power, and I will be able to do this. This is enough to knock out the opponent's Shadow variant of Poliwrath. They survive with a 1 HP here, which will allow them to knock me out with a Scald. I can still go for 2 Hydrocanes against whatever they have in the back. It's going to be a Drapion, and we will see that it would knock them out, but I made a little bit of a mistake, but I don't think it really matters. I went for an extra fast move here because I thought I would be able to get 2 off and maybe get to a Night Slash, but as you can see here, the opponent still survives with 1 HP. Moving on, we're going to have a great lead force. It's exactly what we want to face, but honestly, this team works out super well just on paper as well. Having Clodsire as a Say-Swap would also get out something like this one, which would expect a Nidoqueen in the Ultra League, and it would still have access to Earthquake, which would do super effective damage against the opponent's Sandslash, so this is actually a really good matchup for us here right now, but also, even if it's in the back, you should be able to bait them out with the Clodsire, so your Nidoqueen can run free later on. Here we're going to get out the opponent's Golisopod. This is going to be okay for us, as we can do some damage here, and we have to go into our Nidoqueen anyway. Nidoqueen is able to do some decent amount of damage with just the fast move alone, and especially now after one Poison Fang coming through, this is going to be very good for us, as this is going to now allow us to get the debuff onto the opponent and go for the full farm down. I'm just going to go straight for the Poison Fang against the opponent's alone Sandslash. It's not going to knock them out, it's double resisted, but as you're going to see, it's gonna put them very low, or low enough that I can farm them down, and I decide to use a shield here on my Nidoqueen, hoping that the opponent is going to be weak against me, especially because I can get the guaranteed debuff there, and I'm actually going to have the Clefable. Even if it was something neutral, the opponent had no chance of swapping out anymore there, so I would have been able to keep the debuff on them for the entire time, which is just very huge to be fair, but as you can see here, there's nothing they can do, and we will be able to win this game. Moving on, let's take a look at the next opponent going to run here. We're going to encounter the Cofagrigus in the lead. This is going to be an amazing lead for us, especially as we're going to see the opponent swapping onto a Golisopod. It's going to be okay for us, but honestly, maybe I should have stayed in for a little bit and try to go for a Night Slash first to weaken up the opponent. But as you can see here, the opponent gets a debuff with the Liquidation. They can still also get a debuff with the Poison Fang, but unlike for them where it is just a 30% chance, for us, of course, guaranteed, and of course, they're gonna get another debuff there. So, 2 times a 30% chance. I guess they already used the luck for this game now, but let's take a look what coming in here. It's going to be, of course, the Cofagrigus, and I'm going to decide to swap out now because it's going to be basically my worst possible matchup anyway. And I decided to swap into my Greninja as we're gonna get out the opponent's Clodsire. At this point of time, the opponent doesn't know that I actually have my own Clodsire lurking in the back as well, so that's going to be a fun one. As we can go ahead and go for the Hydro Cannon and get the final shield from the opponent, I will be able to easily survive still another Earthquake from the opponent, and as you can see, I can still reach another Hydro Cannon, but they should be able to knock me out before I can go for another charge move, so it's going to still be a little bit of a closer one. As you can see here, they can go for a Sludge Bomb, and so my Greninja goes down, but I still have my own Clodsire. As they decide to swap out into their Cofagrigus, I will be able to go ahead and go to my shiny Clodsire that can go for one Earthquake and even easily survives a Psychic, but now he got the 10% chance of getting the debuff. So 3 times a chance for a debuff and he got it all the time. Like, the likelihood of this happening is insanely low. I think it's like 0.9%. So that's absolutely wild, as I can go for the Earth Power, and this is going to be it still for this game. Moving on, let's take a look at what the next opponent is going to run here. We're going to have a horrible lead force, which is going to be the Dragonite. I decided to go for a Night Slash to weaken them up a little bit and put them into range for just one Sludge Bomb, as I feel like the charge moves don't really hurt me too much on my Clodsire, as this is what, like, it's honestly still such a tank here. Like, it's so wild. You're gonna see the charge move coming through. It's going to be the Dragon Claw, and we can see as well that we can kind of nicely survive that, as I decide to swap out into a Charizard. Again, if we would have Stone Edge, we would have been fine, but the opponent decides to use a shield no matter what, so it's going to be okay for me, as I can still go for a Sludge Bomb against the opponent. Gonna get some damage, and they're still forced to go for even a Blast Burn. I think I would maybe even survive a Dragon Claw from this range, but the opponent knows it as well and goes for the Blast Burn here, which is the correct call in my opinion, forcing me to use a shield with my Greninja as well against the incoming Dragon Claw. I can go for the Night Slash and knock them out, but still not looking too good for us. It's still going to be a little bit of a difficult one, but we're going to get the boost here, and we're going to see as well what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be the Cobalion. So, Cobalion is going to be a very decent one for us because we have our Nidoqueen. We can resist every single move they have, as well as we can just go for the Earth Power. I thought they would let the first move go through basically because it was kind of their win con, especially as Earth Power also would have that 10% chance to debuff. But they decide to use a shield immediately here, and I can still reach the Earth Power in time. This does not get the knockout against the opponent, as we're going to see here right now, but it's going to put them into a range where I can just swap out into my Greninja after this charge move, and this should allow us to just go for the knockout with that, and we can move on to the next game. This game is going to be actually a little bit special, as you're going to see. This is going to be a great lead for me, as you're going to see the swap into the Heliolisk, allowing us to hard counter the opponent with our Clodsire. Clodsire is going to be able to just take the Grass Knot from the opponent here as well, as he can just go for the Sludge Bomb actually. Could have went for Earthquake, could have went for Earthquake most likely, but I thought that they might want to use a shield, which was mainly the reason because there was a different game that you're going to see still as well, where I had a similar situation where the opponent just went for some shields in a similar situation, to be fair. So, like, I was kind of expecting a shield. It doesn't matter, we're still going to be able to realign, and we're also going to be able to still go for an Earthquake against the opponent, as we are gonna get them now into a range nearly where even my Greninja is going to be fine. They decide to use some energy here, which is actually really good for me, and I can realign my Greninja, but what you're going to see in the back is not something that you would really expect. I was like, oh, why are they running B-Rare? But no, they're running Mega Lopunny. Again, those are friendly battles. There are actually Megas allowed for that. And honestly, if you battle me and you're on my front list and you have Megas for like Ultra League or Great League, feel free to use them. I don't mind that. I find this kind of funny, so I like it from the opponent to showcase something like this here. I was a little bit scared about triple XL on this Pokemon now, because of course this Pokemon would learn it, and this would be great coverage, but I kind of wanted to give him some fun there as well, so I decided to let this next move go through from the Lopunny, which is going to be, of course, the focus boss there, as you saw, and this nearly knocked me out. But here we're gonna now still have a great matchup with Greninja. There's nothing the opponent can really do about it. I'm not even going to shield here. They only have resisted moves. If, like, Jellicent gets, like, some kind of grass-type coverage, maybe, but honestly, Greninja is just one of the best answers for Jellicent, and the opponent knows it as well, and we can now move on into the next game. Let's see what they're going to run here. We're going to have the Talonflame in the lead. This is going to be a fairly decent lead for us, as we're going to see the swap into the Flygon. And this is, of course, a Pokemon that is a little bit rare to be seen, but also, if you take a look at the Pokemon that I have in the back, they don't really appreciate the ground typing. Both of them are going to be weak against the ground typing, so we have to hope that they don't have another ground type in the back here, as we can still go for a charge move against the opponent with the Hydro Cannon coming through. I will be able to go for another charge move afterwards, as my Knife Slash is already stored here, and so I either get the final shield of the opponent or I will still have a great time in general. But yeah, we're gonna get the final shield, which is cool. And they're gonna go for another Dragon Claw, which is not so cool. I'm gonna try to go for another charge move here, which is cool. So we're gonna be able to now get the knockout with a Night Slash and maybe even a boost. Let's see if we can get the boost. We cannot get the boost, but they're going to have another ground type in the back. It's going to be the Shadow Garchomp, which is going to be a little bit of an awkward one, as we can now swap into our Clodsire, but sadly we don't really have the Stone Edge. And I'll also make another mistake here just because I was not really paying too much attention. I could have went for an extra fast move here. I literally just wasted one fast move, and that was not really ideal. Does it matter? I don't think it does matter at all, to be fair, as we're going to see here most likely. Brave Bird going to knock me out, and I make a mistake exactly here. My only play of winning this game is to swap into Nidoqueen, which I didn't do, because I actually swapped into here because I thought I would still be able to swap out before the opponent can go for a charge move, but this didn't turn out. And of course, Garchomp is going to run something that's going to knock me out here, but if I just stayed in, as you're going to see now afterwards, I would actually still be able to survive one fast move from the opponent, would have knocked them out with a Hydro Cannon and won the game. So that's my mistake. But we can move on to the final battle for today. They're going to have a great lead for us as well. It's going to be the Drifblim, and of course it's basically the battle that I meant. That was actually the first battle that I played at all with this team, so that's kind of funny. But somehow it ended up at the back of this video. It's always kind of randomized for every of my videos, like they're not in order. So here we're going to be able to get the shield from the opponent, as we will see. Basically exactly that what I meant before with the Heliolisk matchup. You're going to have a similar matchup here against the Ampharos. But here we're going to definitely invest a shield into our little friend, as it can still realign our Pokemon, as well as we can get some extra energy here. So here we are at 100 energy, not anymore now, but I can get the knockout as well as the realignment. And of course, if you see my backline, you know I kinda have to realign. And again, Stone Edge would have been better here on this Clodsire, but I'm still running the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb is cooler though against something like a Tapu Fini, which is kind of nice, but otherwise, like, it does not really matter anyway. Tapu Fini, by the way, always wins in the two-shield scenario against you, no matter what moveset you have. So it's a little bit tricky otherwise. But here we're gonna now be able to go into our Greninja, which is gonna be able to just go for the Night Slash. And as we can see, the opponent swaps into Cobalion. Honestly, I don't know what I was trying to do here, to be fair, but maybe I wanted to try to get a shield or something. But we're gonna get the opponent to range now, at least with this Night Slash, for 1 Earth Power, which I guess is fine. Earth Power needs a little bit of prior damage for the opponent's Cobalion in order to knock them out. And as you can see, the Psychoid Sword is coming through, and the Earth Power is hopefully gonna get the knockout here. Let's take a look at this. It is not, because the opponent is going to be able to use a shield still, but we will have to take another charge move from the opponent. The Switch Talk is coming up, and the opponent tries to swap out in time as well. But I'm forced to go for a Poison Fang now in order to turn down the clock, so I can swap out in time into my Greninja, go for the Night Slash, and now they're forced to throw their own charge move afterwards, because I'm not in farm down range, and I can go for the Hydro Cannon, which would be a little bit scary for the Cobalion. So they're forced to go for a charge move, and of course, I'm just going to rely on my Nidoqueen, and this is all it takes to win this final game of today's video. Clodsire was honestly so much better than I expected. Stone Edge might be even better on this Pokemon, but that's going to be it for this video. If you want to have some spicy content as well, maybe build your own Clodsire. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.